Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a confession. When I first tried to speak English, I thought I was so good. I said, "Hello, how are you?" The other person replied, "Oh, I'm doing great. I've just been traveling, working on my thesis, and spending time with my nephew." And I stood there thinking, what is thesis? My brain just shut down. Like, error 404, English not found. And you know, many of us have felt that pain. We understand every word in a movie, but when someone suddenly speaks to us in real life, our tongue goes on strike. But here's something powerful. Your English is not bad. You just haven't used it enough. It's like a muscle. You don't get stronger by watching gym videos. You get stronger by lifting weights. So today, I want you to lift your first English weight, and that is your mindset. We're not doing this 30-day challenge to sound fancy. We're doing it to be confident. Because confidence beats grammar every single time. You see, most people don't fail to learn English because they're not smart. They fail because they're scared. Scared of making mistakes. Scared someone will laugh. But let me tell you something. Everyone who speaks great English today once sounded funny. Every single one. Even celebrities. You know Arnold Schwarzenegger? People told him, "You'll never be famous with that accent." Now his accent is famous. So remember this rule number 1 of our challenge. Don't aim for perfect English. Aim for fearless English. Because when you stop being afraid, your progress will shock you. Here's your first task of the 30-day English challenge. From day 1 to 5, speak without fear. Talk to yourself in English. Yes, out loud. While cooking, walking, or brushing your teeth. Stand in front of a mirror and describe your day. I woke up, I ate breakfast, I'm tired but I'll keep going. Make it fun, not formal. Don't try to sound like the queen. Sound like you. At this stage, we don't care about vocabulary or grammar. We care about rhythm, confidence, and removing that inner fear. If you can speak for 2 minutes today, you'll speak for 20 minutes in a month. I once told my friend, "Talk to yourself." He said, "That's crazy." I said, "Exactly. That's how successful people start, doing the crazy things others laugh at." So for the first week, your job is not to learn perfect English. Your job is to stop translating in your head and start thinking in English. Even if you say yesterday I go work instead of went to work, that's okay. You're building fluency, not perfection. Remember, broken English spoken with confidence is stronger than perfect English spoken with fear. Because one day, the same people who laughed at your English will be asking you to teach them how you did it. So welcome to week 1 of the 30-day English challenge. Let's build confidence first. Grammar will follow. Let's make English not just a language, but a lifestyle. So my friends, you survived week 1. You talked to mirrors, you spoke to yourself while brushing your teeth, and maybe your family started thinking, okay, something's wrong with them. Congratulations. That means it's working. Because people always look at you like you're crazy before they call you successful. Now, welcome to week 2. This is where the real magic starts. In week 1, you trained your courage. In week 2, you train your habit. You see, speaking English once or twice is easy. But doing it every single day, that's where most people give up. Not because they can't do it, but because they lose rhythm. Fluency isn't about speaking fast. It's about showing up consistently. Let me tell you a secret. The human brain loves patterns. If you do something every day, even for just 10 minutes, your brain starts saying, okay, this is important. Let's make it automatic. That's how habits form. So your challenge for day 6 to 10 is simple. Build your English habit. Pick one specific time of day. Maybe morning tea, maybe bedtime, and make it your English zone. For example, in morning, watch one short motivational video in English and repeat what they say. In afternoon, describe your surroundings for 5 minutes. At night, write or record one short reflection about your day. And if you miss a day, don't panic, just restart. Because success isn't about never falling, it's about getting up faster each time. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I don't have time. Really? You scroll Instagram for 30 minutes but can't talk in English for 5 minutes? Let's be honest, we all have time. We just need purpose. I remember once reading how Cristiano Ronaldo became who he is. While others left the field, he stayed behind, training longer. That's not talent, that's habit. So if you want to be fluent, you don't need more grammar books. You need a Ronaldo mindset. Practice more than anyone else. And yes, it'll feel boring sometimes. You'll think nothing's changing. But trust me, inside your brain, 1,000 connections are being built quietly. Because English isn't learned overnight, it's grown daily. So keep this week practical, not perfect. If you repeat one new word 10 times a day, you win. If you speak broken sentences with confidence, you win. If you show up when you're tired, you win. And after this week, something amazing will happen. English won't feel like study anymore. It'll start to feel like your friend. Because that's what happens when you spend time with something every day. It becomes part of you. So here's the mission for week 2. From day 6 to 10, build your habit. Build your English. Don't chase perfection. Chase consistency. Because consistency creates confidence, and confidence creates fluency. And once you cross this week, you'll be ready for something even bigger. All right, champions. You've built your confidence in week 1, your habit in week 2. Now welcome to week 3, where English becomes your lifestyle. This week, you stop learning English and start living it. Because the secret to fluency is not in your grammar book, it's in your environment. You see, your environment is your silent teacher. If your phone, your YouTube, your Netflix, your mind all speak English, you don't even realize you're learning anymore. So here's your mission. From day 11 to 20, live in English. Start small. Change your phone settings to English. When you see storage full or battery low, that's not just a notification, that's vocabulary. Follow English pages on Instagram or YouTube that make you laugh or inspire you. Watch content you actually enjoy, not boring lessons that make you yawn after 10 seconds. If you love cooking, watch recipes in English. If you love business, watch interviews of entrepreneurs. If you love sports, listen to commentary in English. Because when you combine English with fun, you stop forcing yourself. It becomes natural. And let me tell you a story. I once met a young man who wanted to improve his English, but had no teacher, no expensive course, nothing. So every morning, while riding his old bicycle to work, he would listen to English speeches through a small phone tucked in his pocket. One day he told me, "Sir, I don't know when it happened, but one morning I realized I was not just listening, I was understanding." That's what happens when you live in English. You grow quietly without even noticing it. And that's your goal for week 3. Make English the background music of your life. Listen while walking, reading, exercising. Think in English before you sleep. When something happens, ask yourself, how would I say this in English? It's not about studying harder. It's about surrounding yourself with the language until it becomes a part of who you are. And if someone laughs at you for speaking in English, tell them, I'm not showing off. I'm showing up. Because this week is the turning point of the 30-day challenge. The week where you stop feeling like a student and start feeling like a speaker. Remember, English isn't just a language. It's a tool, a bridge, a door to opportunities you've never imagined. So in week 3, I don't want you to study English. I want you to live it, breathe it, hear it, speak it, dream it. And when you do that, something magical will happen. You'll stop translating. You'll start thinking in English. That's when fluency begins. My friends, welcome to week 4. You've faced your fear, built your habit, started living in English. Now it's time to use it, show it, and own it. This is the moment where everything you've practiced becomes real. Because learning English in your room is safe, but using it in the world, that's where the magic happens. From day 21 to 30, use your English in the real world. Talk to real people. Leave English comments on YouTube or social posts. Ask your friends questions in English, even if they reply in your language. Join online spaces. Watch interviews. Send one English message every day. You'll notice something funny. The first time, your hands will literally sweat. You'll write a message, delete it, rewrite it, stare at it for 10 minutes, and finally hit send. And then, nothing bad happens. Nobody laughs, nobody attacks your grammar, they just reply, and suddenly you realize, I can do this. That small message, that's confidence being born. See, language is not just a skill, it's a bridge. You can read about it forever, but it only becomes real when you walk across. Let me share a story. When I was younger, I used to stand near tourist spots just to talk to foreigners. I didn't have perfect grammar. I had perfect curiosity. Sometimes they didn't even understand me, but they smiled because they saw the effort. One day, a traveler asked me, "Why are you practicing English like this?" I said, "Because one day I'll need this language to tell my story to the world." That's what you're doing right now. You're preparing for that day when your voice needs no subtitles. So here's your challenge for week 4. Record one short video sharing your opinion on any topic, even if it's why tea is better than coffee. Write one English post on social media. Try a short conversation with a stranger or a friend in English. You'll make mistakes. Good. That's how you grow. You'll forget words. Even better. That's how you remember them next time. Because the real fluency test isn't pronunciation, it's courage. And when people ask you, how did you become confident in English? Don't say, I studied a lot. Say, I practiced even when I was scared. That's the spirit of week 4, where practice meets performance. And when you cross this week, you'll realize something beautiful. You no longer learn English. You live it. But we're not done yet. There's one more part. Because in the final week, the week after the challenge, it's not about speaking anymore. It's about becoming the kind of person who never stops growing. So my friends, we've reached the end of our 30-day English challenge. But let me tell you a secret. This isn't really the end. It's the beginning of a new version of you. Because the person who started this challenge and the person listening right now, they are not the same. The one who started was shy, unsure, maybe afraid of making mistakes. But the one standing here today, that person has spoken to mirrors, practiced alone, stayed consistent, faced fear, and won. You've built more than vocabulary. You've built discipline. You've built confidence. You've built belief. That's what language does. It doesn't just change how you speak. It changes how you see yourself. So now when you walk into a room and someone speaks in English, you don't shrink. You smile and think, I can do that too. Because you've proved it. And maybe one day, someone will come to you and say, I wish I could speak English like you. You'll smile and tell them, you can just start the way I did. One day at a time. Remember, fluency isn't built in classrooms. It's built in courage rooms, inside people who dare to speak before they feel ready. So don't stop at day 30. Turn this into a 365-day challenge. Speak every day to yourself, to your friends, to the world, because the goal was never perfect grammar. The goal was perfect confidence, and you already have it. So go out there, talk to the world. Tell your story in your accent, your style, your truth. Because your English doesn't have to sound like anyone else's. It just has to sound like you. Thank you for showing up, for believing, for speaking. And remember, this isn't just a 30-day English challenge. It's a 30-day life challenge. You didn't just learn English, you learned courage. And that, my friends, is a language the whole world understands. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what's funny? Most people lose the battle before it even begins. Not because the world is too hard, not because life is unfair, but because of that tiny radio in their head that keeps saying, you can't, you're not ready. People will laugh at you. It's like we're born with a free app called Negative Thinking 2.0, and it comes with lifetime updates. Every time something goes wrong, the app says, see, I told you. You fail a test once, boom. The mind says, you're stupid. You start a business, it doesn't take off. You're not meant for this. You like someone and they reject you. You're not good enough. And you know the worst part? We believe it. We trust that voice more than we trust our own potential. Think about it. If negative thoughts were a person, most of us would still hang out with them. Imagine someone constantly saying, you can't do this. You're wasting your time. Everyone's better than you. Would you keep that person in your life? No. But when those same words come from inside your own head, suddenly you treat them like truth from the universe. That's why I say, you don't need to kill your enemies, you need to kill your negative thinking. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who wanted to learn swimming. He bought the best swimming book, watched hundreds of videos, asked every coach in town for advice, but he never jumped into the water. Why? Because his mind said, what if I drown? Months later, his friend, who knew nothing about swimming, jumped in, swallowed half the pool, but learned to float. One believed his fear. The other believed in trying. Now who's the real winner? That's life. Most people stand at the edge of opportunity, reading manuals, waiting for confidence to come. Confidence never comes before action. It comes after you act. But negative thinking fools you into waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect courage. That's like waiting for rain in the desert. Even the most successful people you admire, they had negative thoughts too. The difference is they didn't let those thoughts become commands. Michael Jordan once said he missed over 9,000 shots in his career. If he listened to negative thinking after each miss, we'd never know his name. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the bulb. Someone asked him, "How did you keep going?" He said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just found 1,000 ways that didn't work." That's not positivity. That's mental discipline. He killed the thought that said, "I failed." Your brain is a factory. If you feed it trash, it will produce trash. You tell it "I can't," it finds proof that you can't. You tell it "I can," it starts searching for ways you can. That's how the brain works. It's loyal to whatever you tell it most often. So when you wake up tomorrow and that little voice whispers, "You're not enough," smile and say, "I've heard this joke before." Because that's what negative thinking is. A bad comedian that never changes the script. You know, negative thinking is like Wi-Fi. You don't have to look for it. It just connects automatically. The moment you wake up, your brain goes, "Let's check today's problems." You haven't even brushed your teeth yet, and you're already worried about your future, your bills, your weight, your phone's battery, everything. And then people wonder why they feel tired all the time. It's not your body, it's your mind carrying too many useless files. You've got what if files, I can't do this files, what will people think files, delete them. Clear your mental storage before your system crashes. You see, every successful person once fought the same enemy, their own negative thoughts. When Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, imagine the voice in his head that day. "You're done. You got kicked out of your own company." But he didn't listen. He started again, smaller, sharper, and built Pixar, and eventually came back to Apple as a legend. That's not just intelligence, that's mental resilience. He killed the thought that said, "I'm finished." But look around. Most people today do the opposite. They get rejected once and retire emotionally. One breakup and they start posting sad quotes for 3 months straight. One business flop and they say, "I'll never try again." You see, negative thinking isn't powerful. It just has great marketing. It convinces you that protecting yourself from failure is smarter than trying again. But here's the truth. You don't protect yourself when you quit. You punish yourself. I once met a young guy who said, "Sir, I want to start a business, but I don't think it'll work." I asked him, "How do you know?" He said, "Because no one in my family ever did it." And I said, "Then that's the best reason you should." But his face went blank because his whole life he'd been trained to think small. That's what negative thinking does. It doesn't just stop dreams. It makes you believe dreaming itself is foolish. You know what's funny? When we fail, we overthink. When we succeed, we underthink. We don't celebrate our wins. We scroll past them. But when we fail, we make a documentary about it in our heads. We replay every mistake, every word, every what if. Tell me honestly, how many nights have you stayed awake arguing with your own brain about something that already happened? That's negative thinking, turning your mind into a courtroom, and you're both the lawyer and the prisoner. Look, nobody escapes negativity completely. Even champions get scared. Even billionaires doubt themselves. The difference is, they don't live there. They visit that thought, understand it, and then move on. They use it as fuel, not as a cage. So next time your mind says, "You're not ready," say "Good." Because no one ever is. When it says, "You might fail," say "Perfect. That's how I'll learn." And when it says, "People will laugh," say "At least they're watching." You see, humor kills negativity faster than logic does. When you start laughing at your fears, they lose their power. When you say, "Okay, brain, nice try, but we're doing this anyway," you become unstoppable. Because at the end of the day, your negative thoughts can't stop you unless you hire them to. Let me tell you a secret. Your brain is the most loyal employee you'll ever have, but it's also the dumbest. It doesn't care whether you feed it garbage or gold. It'll believe whatever you repeat often enough. You say, "I can't do this 10 times. Your brain will say, "Okay, boss, we can't." You say, "I'm capable." Your brain will say, "Okay, boss, let's find a way." So if your brain is listening to everything you say, why are you being such a bad manager? You wouldn't talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself, right? Imagine if you said to your friend, "Bro, you're useless. You'll never make it." You'd lose that friend in 5 seconds. But somehow, you say it to yourself every morning and then expect to have a productive day. Negative thinking is not a personality trait, it's a habit. And like any habit, it can be replaced. When you catch yourself saying, "I can't," just add one word, "Yet." I can't do this, yet. See how the energy changes. Now your brain starts working for you, not against you. Let's take an example. You go to the gym for the first time. You lift the dumbbell. It feels like you're trying to move a car. Your brain says, see, you're weak. But if you say, yeah, I'm weak today, but give me 30 days. That's a different story. You've turned negativity into momentum. Even the most famous people had this switch. When Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest, he wasn't bragging. He was reprogramming his brain. He said that before he even became the champion, because he knew if you don't declare it inside, the world won't believe it outside. The problem is, we've trained our minds to expect the worst. We walk into interviews already thinking, they probably won't hire me. We start projects thinking, it'll probably fail. It's like starting a marathon with your shoelaces tied together. You fall before the race even begins. I remember talking to a young girl once. She said, I want to post my art online. But what if people don't like it? I asked her, how many people have seen it so far? She said, no one. And I said, so you're afraid of imaginary haters now? She laughed. But that's exactly what negative thinking does. It builds fear out of fiction. You know who never listens to negative thoughts? Kids. A child will draw something that looks like a potato and proudly say, it's you. They don't care if it's bad. They just create. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood, we stop creating and start calculating. We replace imagination with hesitation. That's why killing negative thinking is not about being positive all the time. It's about going back to that fearless kid inside you, the one who didn't overthink, who just tried. That version of you still exists. It's just buried under years of what ifs and I can'ts. So from today, don't fight your negative thoughts. Replace them. If your brain says, what if I fail? Reply, what if I fly? If it says, what will they think? Reply, they'll think whatever they want. I'm still doing it. Because the truth is, people are too busy fighting their own negative thoughts to even notice yours. You know what's crazy? Most people aren't held back by life. They're held back by their own imagination of failure. We create a whole movie in our head called What If It Goes Wrong, and then never actually try. And the best part? We don't even have popcorn. Like imagine this. You're sitting there, you want to start something, a YouTube channel, a small business, even just go to the gym. Then your brain says, what if you fail? And suddenly, you're watching the trailer of your own disaster. You losing everything, people laughing, the world ending, your mom saying, I told you. All that, and you haven't even started yet. That's what negative thinking does. It gives you fear before reality does. You ever notice how your brain turns small things into world-ending problems? You text someone. They don't reply for 2 hours. Your brain, they hate me. Reality, their phone died. You post something online. No one likes it for 5 minutes. Your brain, I'm irrelevant. Reality, it's just 3 a.m. and everyone's asleep. See, your brain's job is to protect you, but it does it in the worst way possible. It tells you, don't take the risk, but forgets that not taking risks is the biggest risk. Let me tell you something that'll hit you. That negative voice in your head, it's not yours. It's a collection of voices you've heard your whole life. Parents, teachers, people who gave up on their own dreams. They planted their fears inside your brain, and now you water them every morning with overthinking. That's why you've got to be careful who you listen to. Some people talk like they're giving advice, but they're really just describing their own limits. And you know the worst part? We trust fear more than we trust experience. You can have 10 good moments and 1 bad one, and you'll replay the bad one all day. You'll get 100 compliments and 1 insult, and that's the only one you'll remember. It's like our brains are allergic to peace, but here's what you've got to understand. You can't stop negative thoughts from coming. They'll always knock. But you can stop inviting them in for tea. When your brain says, you're not good enough, say, okay, maybe not yet, but I'm better than I was yesterday. When it says you'll embarrass yourself, reply, then I'll have a great story to tell. Because the moment you stop fearing embarrassment, you start growing faster than people who play safe. Everyone you see winning in life, they all look stupid at the start. The gym guy, lifting with bad form. The YouTuber talking to a camera with 0 views. The girl selling handmade stuff that no one bought for months. They all looked funny before they looked successful. But guess what? They kept going. Because they knew you can't think your way into confidence. You have to act your way into it. So when negative thoughts show up, don't fight them, just outwork them. You can't overthink and take action at the same time. Your brain has to choose one. Make it choose movement. You know what the saddest thing is? Most people never find out how powerful they actually are because they let their own mind convince them they're weak. They keep waiting for confidence to arrive like it's an Amazon delivery. But confidence doesn't knock on your door. You build it by doing things that scare you again and again until fear gets bored. The problem is, we treat negative thoughts like breaking news. We stop everything just to listen. Your mind says, you can't do this. And instead of saying, okay, thanks for your opinion, you start having a 2-hour meeting with yourself. Like, bro, your brain isn't CNN. You don't need daily updates about your insecurities. Here's the truth. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant strong thoughts, weeds of doubt will grow automatically. You can't just think positive once and expect results. You've got to water that belief every single day. Feed your brain with growth, not gossip. With goals, not complaints. With I'm learning, not I'm losing. And I get it. It's not easy. Sometimes the noise in your head gets so loud that you forget what silence even feels like. But every time you choose faith over fear, you get a little quieter inside. That's how peace begins. Not when life gets easier, but when your thinking gets cleaner. You want to know what killing negative thinking really means? It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing which reality you want to grow. Because your thoughts are not mirrors, they're paintbrushes. You don't just reflect life, you design it. And if your design is full of can'ts, won'ts, and what ifs, don't be surprised when your life looks exactly like your fears. Let me tell you something honest. You're going to have dark days. You'll doubt yourself. You'll feel lost. You'll question why you even started. That's normal. Just remember this. You don't need to eliminate every negative thought. You just need to make sure they don't drive the car. Let them sit in the back seat, but you hold the steering wheel. Because one day, the same people who doubted you will ask how you stayed so strong. And you'll smile because you'll know the battle was never with them. It was always with the voice in your head, and you won. So from today, every time your brain whispers, you can't, whisper back, watch me. That's how you kill negative thinking. Not with force, but with faith, focus, and forward movement. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest lies we grow up believing is this. Someone will come to save you. We think a teacher will notice our talent. A boss will reward our effort. A friend will recommend us. Or maybe luck will knock on our door one morning with a gift box labeled success. But let me tell you something funny. I once waited 3 years for luck. It didn't even send me a text message. When you were in school, you thought the teacher would help you get better grades. In college, you thought the degree would help you get a job. And now many of you think your job will help you get a life. But life doesn't work like that. Nobody is sitting somewhere thinking, how can I make your life better today? Look at the world's most successful people. They all started alone, and most of them started when no one believed in them. When Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, no one came to help. When Elon Musk was sleeping in the factory, no one came to comfort him. They didn't wait for a miracle. They became one. And that's what I want you to remember. If you keep waiting for help, you'll be waiting forever. The train of opportunity doesn't stop at the station called Please Save Me. So stop looking for a hero. The hero is already inside you. Just very lazy right now, sitting on the couch, scrolling Instagram. Wake that person up. Because the day you stop expecting someone to save you, that's the day you finally start saving yourself. You know what's funny? Most people say they want freedom, but the moment life gets hard, they start looking for a rescuer. When they lose their job, they blame the company. When their startup fails, they blame investors. When their life doesn't move forward, they say, maybe my time hasn't come yet. My friend, time doesn't come, you create it. People message me saying, sir, no one supports me. Of course they don't. Why should they? You haven't even proved to yourself that you can handle your own dream. When you start doing something real, when your actions speak louder than your excuses, trust me, people will start pretending they always believed in you. You know how in school, when the teacher asks a tough question, everyone suddenly looks down at their notebook. That's life. When you fail, people look away. When you succeed, everyone raises their hand saying, I knew him. Take a look at any successful person you admire, not when they were famous, but when they were ignored. When J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter, 12 publishers said no. 12. Imagine if she had said, maybe someone will discover me. No one was coming. She still wrote the book. When Colonel Sanders started KFC, he was 65, rejected more than 1,000 times. No one was coming. He still cooked the chicken. Every person who built something great learned one thing early. No one is coming to save you. So stop crying and start creating. Let me ask you, when your car breaks down on the road, what do you do first? Sit inside waiting for a tow truck, or step out and try to push it a little? That's your life. If you can't push your own car, don't expect anyone else to drive it for you. Because the moment you move, even 1 inch, life starts moving too. That's how you build momentum. That's how you take control. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what destroys more dreams than failure? Waiting. People wait for the right time, the right mood, the right support, the right idea. But let me tell you, the right time never arrives. It's like waiting for a bus in a desert. You can stand there forever. The only thing that comes is sand in your face. When I started my first business, people told me, wait until you have enough money. When I started teaching, they said, wait until you have experience. When I started speaking, they said, wait until you're perfect. If I had listened, I'd still be waiting, probably writing motivational quotes on Facebook with 12 likes. The truth is, life rewards those who move while everyone else is waiting. Action is more powerful than luck, more valuable than talent, and more respected than excuses. You see, success is like Wi-Fi, it's everywhere, but you have to connect to it yourself. No one's going to give you the password. Most people think they'll start when they feel ready. Let me break it to you. You'll never feel ready. The day you take your first step, your brain will scream, stop, it's dangerous. But if you listen to that voice, you'll spend your life safe and miserable. You think Elon Musk was ready when he risked his last dollars on rockets? You think Shah Rukh Khan was ready when he left Delhi with nothing but a suitcase and a dream? You think Dhirubhai Ambani was ready when he quit his job in Yemen to sell oil in India? None of them were ready. They were hungry. And hunger beats readiness every single time. Let me tell you a small story. A man once said to me, "Sir, I'll start my business when I have the perfect plan." 10 years later, I met him again, still planning. Meanwhile, another guy with half his knowledge, half his capital, and double his courage had already built 3 shops. Perfection is a beautiful prison, and waiting is its guard. Do you know why people keep waiting? Because waiting feels comfortable. When you're waiting, you don't risk failure, you don't face rejection, and you can keep blaming bad timing. But let me tell you, while you're protecting your ego, someone else is out there making progress. Look at the athletes who train before sunrise, the students who study while others party, the entrepreneurs who work when no one's watching. They're not smarter. They just stopped waiting. We live in a world where everyone wants instant success, one viral video, one lucky break, one overnight story. But if you study those overnight successes carefully, you'll see 10 years of invisible work behind them. People love the highlight reel, but ignore the rehearsal. They admire the show, but skip the struggle. You want to change your life? Then stop waiting for the universe to send a sign. This message is your sign. The world doesn't owe you a miracle. It owes you nothing. And that's exactly why you're free to create everything. Because once you stop waiting, you realize something magical. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You just need to start right where you are with what you have. Start small. If you can't build an empire, build a habit. If you can't lift 100 kilos, lift 5 kilos, but lift it every day. If you can't change the world, change your morning. That's how you build confidence. Step by step, brick by brick. You'll fall, you'll fail, you'll look stupid, but guess what? Everyone who made it once looks stupid too. Remember the story of Thomas Edison. 1,000 failed attempts before he created the light bulb. If he had waited for someone to save him with a better idea, we'd still be sitting in darkness, complaining about electricity bills that don't exist. Every time you take action, even a tiny one, you're sending a message to life that says, I'm not waiting anymore. And life listens to people who move. So please, don't waste another year thinking someone will discover you, help you, fund you, or rescue you. No one is coming, and that's your greatest blessing. Because when you stop expecting others to lift you, you finally realize how strong you really are. Ladies and gentlemen, the people who succeed in life are not the most talented, or the most educated, or the luckiest. They are simply the ones who stopped waiting and started walking. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you stop waiting and start moving, something strange happens. Life begins to test you. It will not welcome you with open arms. It will punch you in the face. Your plan will fail. Your friends will disappear. And your savings will shrink faster than your motivation. You'll think, maybe I made a mistake. But that's not a mistake. That's the process. When a seed is planted, the first thing it does is break apart. It literally destroys itself to grow into a tree. So if your life feels like it's breaking, maybe it's not ending, maybe it's beginning. Everyone wants growth, But no one wants growing pains. We love the idea of success, but hate the price tag it carries. You want to be strong, but not uncomfortable. You want to be rich, but not risky. You want wisdom, but without wounds. That's not how it works. When you take control of your life, it's lonely in the beginning. Because the moment you stop waiting for people, you start losing people. The ones who loved the old you, the soft, dependent, always asking for advice you, they'll suddenly disappear. And that's okay. Not everyone was meant to walk with you to the finish line. Some were only there to show you the starting point. Let me tell you a small story. There was a man who complained every day that no one supported his business. One day, his wife said, "Then stop waiting for support and start selling something that supports others." He didn't understand at first, but he started making chairs. Today, he owns a furniture company that employs 200 people. He was waiting for support and ended up building it himself. That's how life works. You stop asking, "Why won't anyone help me?" And you start asking, "How can I help myself and maybe even help others?" When I started my journey, I had nothing. Not money, not experience, not contacts. But I had time, energy, and a ridiculous belief that I could build something. And that belief became my greatest investor. So my friend, when you feel abandoned, don't cry. When no one replies to your messages, don't take it personally. When people laugh at your dreams, don't fight them. Thank them. Because that's when the world is secretly teaching you your greatest lesson. Stand up, alone, strong. Do you know what's funny? When you finally make it, those same people will return. They'll say, "We always knew you'd do it," and you'll smile. Not because you need their approval, but because you no longer care. When you stop depending on others, your energy changes. You start moving different, talking different, thinking different. You become dangerous, not because you hurt people, but because nothing can hurt you anymore. Failure doesn't scare you. Rejection doesn't break you, because you've already lived through the hardest part, being ignored. You know, people think success is about money. No, real success is when you no longer need anyone to tell you you can do it. You already know. The world starts respecting you only after you learn to respect your own struggle. And once that happens, you stop begging for opportunities. You start creating them. That's when everything changes. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one truth I've learned in life, it's this. Nobody is coming. Nobody. Not your teacher, not your boss, not your parents, not even your best friend. Everyone is fighting their own battle. So if you keep waiting for someone to pull you out, you'll drown holding their shadow. The people who change their lives are not the ones who got lucky. They're the ones who refused to wait. When the Wright brothers wanted to fly, the world laughed. When Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first job, they said she wasn't fit for TV. When I was rejected from 30 jobs, including KFC, everyone said I'd never make it. But guess what? All of them, including me, learned one secret. No one is coming to save you, so build your own wings. Let me tell you something honest. Life will not send you a rescue team, but it will give you tiny chances every day. A small idea, a small connection, a small opportunity, and if you grab it, that small thing becomes everything. One decision can change your direction. 1 hour of learning every day can make you a new person in a year. One rejection can be the push you needed to find your own path. Most people never start because they want support first, then action. But the truth is reversed. The world supports action. No one believes until you show them a reason to. When I was young, I used to wait for people to guide me, teach me, invest in me. But now I realize nobody ignores you because they hate you. They ignore you because you haven't given them a reason to notice you yet. And that reason doesn't come from luck, it comes from daily effort. Let me ask you something. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? You're asking people to invest in a company you don't even trust, you. The moment you decide, no one is coming, so I'll do it anyway, the game changes. Your brain changes, your energy changes, and life starts opening doors that were always there. You just couldn't see them because you were too busy waiting. If you're watching this right now, remember this. You have two choices. Keep waiting for a hero or become one. Keep blaming others or start building yourself. Keep hoping someone will change your life or realize that person has been in the mirror all along. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. But once you save yourself, once you rise, once you build, once you walk through the fire alone, you become the kind of person who can save others. And that, my friend, is how leaders are born. Not from comfort, not from luck, but from the moment they finally understood no one is coming. Thank you for listening, And don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a simple money story. Imagine someone gives you $10,000 today, no conditions, just cash in your hand. Now, if you have no plan, what happens? Day 1, you buy food. Day 2, you buy clothes. Day 3, you go out with friends. Day 4, bro, let's order something again. Day 7, money finished. And worst part, you sit there saying, I don't know where my money went. This is exactly how most people live their life. They don't spend money wrong. They spend it without a plan. And anything without a plan disappears. Money disappears. Time disappears. Opportunities disappear. Motivation disappears. Why? Because success leaks through every hole of an unplanned life. If you don't tell your money where to go, it goes everywhere. If you don't tell your time what to do, it gets wasted. If you don't tell your life what you want, it gives you nothing. Let me tell you something funny but painful. If I ask someone, what's your plan for the next 6 months? They say, I want to be successful. That's not a plan. That's a wish. A plan is, I want to finish this course, save this amount, start this thing, improve this skill, take this action. Clear, measurable, trackable. People fail not because they lack talent. They fail because they lack a direction. You try to grow without a plan, and life becomes like trying to save water in your hands. No matter how much you hold, it slips out. Look around you. Every successful business has a business plan. Every winning team has a game plan. Every good student has a study plan. But most people have no life plan, and then they wonder why nothing changes. Let me give you one relatable example. Have you ever gone to the gym without a workout plan? What happens? You do one machine, then another, then stand around pretending to stretch, then take a mirror selfie, and in 30 minutes you go home thinking, I did something, but the truth is, you did nothing. Why? No plan. That's why I say, no plan means no success. So today, I'm going to show you how to create a simple, powerful plan, even if you're broke, confused, lost, or starting from zero. Now, let's start talking about how to build a plan that actually works without making it complicated or scary. Most people think planning means sitting with 10 notebooks, 5 pens, and acting like a business consultant. No. A real plan is simple, clear, and something you can follow. Step 1. Choose one goal, not 10, not 5, just one thing that will actually move your life forward. Here's what you do. Grab a notebook or even your phone and answer this question. If I could change one thing in the next 30 days, that would make the biggest difference in my life, what would it be? Write it down. Be specific. Don't say, I want to be successful. That's vague. Instead, say, I want to make $100 extra this month. I want to run 3 kilometers every morning. I want to finish this course in 30 days. One goal, only one, done. Step 2, find your 3 reasons why this goal matters. These are the things that will make you keep going when life gets lazy, when your bed is too comfortable, or your phone keeps distracting you. Here's what you do. Take your goal and answer these questions. Why do I want this? Why do I really want this? Why will I regret it if I don't do this? Example. Let's take the $100 extra goal. 3 reasons could be longer route to pay off my mom's small debt, to finally buy a proper laptop instead of struggling on this old one, to prove to myself that I can start taking control of my life. Write these 3 reasons next to your goal. Make them personal. Make them funny if it helps. Make them real. This is your fuel. Without it, even a perfect plan is useless. Let me show you with an example. Meet person A. Same dream as most of us. I want to make more money. No plan, no reasons. They spend their first week scrolling TikTok, eating snacks, and complaining about life. By the end of the week, nothing happened. The dream is still a dream. Person B, the one who succeeds, actually does this step. They write it down. They look at it every morning. They remind themselves why it matters. Suddenly, their brain starts noticing opportunities. They see ways to earn that $100. They see time to run 3 kilometers. They see a schedule that actually works. Person B starts noticing opportunities that person A completely misses. Emails, tasks, small gigs. They take action. Because their plan has direction. Even if they make only $10 on the first day, it's progress. Step 1 and 2 are enough to get started. Most people stop here. They think a plan has to be complicated. But no, clarity and purpose are more powerful than any fancy chart or app. Ladies and gentlemen, so far we've picked one goal and written 3 reasons why it matters. That's the foundation. But a goal without action is just a wish. Now we move to the real steps that make it happen. Step 3 is simple. Break your goal into small, practical actions. Think of it like this. If your goal is to earn $100 extra this month, don't sit there thinking, I need a million ideas. That's overwhelming. Instead, write 5 small things you can do this week to get closer. For example, search online for 2-3 freelance gigs today. Send 1 email applying for a task. Ask a friend for advice or referral. Watch 1 tutorial on improving your skill. Set aside 30 minutes each day to work on this. Do one, then the next, then the next. Small wins stack up. Person B may only make $10 on day 2, but that $10 is proof the plan works. Person A? Still scrolling. If your goal is to get healthier, don't try to run 5 kilometers on day 1. Start by walking around your street for 10 minutes. The next day, 15 minutes. Then maybe invite a friend or neighbor to join you. The action is tiny, but it's done. You feel it. You see progress. That's step 3. Small actions that are actually doable. Step 4 is equally important. Schedule and track your actions. If you just say, I'll do it sometime, it probably won't happen. Pick a specific time, even 20 or 30 minutes, and do the task. At the end of the day, check what you completed. Did you take the walk? Did you send the application? Tick it off. If you missed it, note why and adjust. This simple habit of scheduling and tracking makes your goal tangible. It keeps your plan alive. Open your phone calendar or a notebook and block time for each task. For example, Monday 5 to 6 p.m. Send emails. Tuesday 6 to 6:30 p.m. Research gigs. You're literally telling your brain, this is the moment we do it. Your future self will thank you. Here's the truth. Most people fail, not because they can't do it, but because they never start small or never keep track. When you break your goal into small, manageable steps, schedule them, and tick them off daily, the plan starts working automatically. Every little step builds momentum. Every tick mark feels like progress. And before you know it, your goal is no longer a dream, it's something moving forward, day by day. So today, don't overthink it. Take your goal. Ask yourself one small thing you can do right now. Do it, and schedule the next small step. Track it, repeat. That's step 3. And step 4. Simple, clear, real results start here. Ladies and gentlemen, so far you've picked your goal, written your reasons, broken it into small actions, and scheduled them. Your plan is ready. But now comes the hardest part, sticking to it. Most plans fail, not because the steps are hard, but because people give up too soon. The first thing to know is that distractions will come. Your phone will beep. A favorite show will start. Life will throw excuses at you. That's normal. The trick is simple. Decide in advance when and where you will work on your goal. For example, if your goal is to learn a new skill, tell yourself, I will study from 7 to 7:30 p.m. every day, no interruptions. Treat it like brushing your teeth, it's non-negotiable. Next, start small and stay consistent. You don't need huge victories every day. Even doing a tiny action consistently is more powerful than huge efforts once in a while. Let's say you want to start exercising. Walking 10 minutes today may feel small, but doing it every day for a week is already progress. Or if your goal is saving money, putting aside just $2 every day may seem tiny, but by the end of the month, you have $60 of proof that small actions add up. Another key is tracking your progress. Each day, check off what you completed. Seeing small wins motivates you. For example, if your goal is writing a book, check off each page you finish. Even one paragraph feels like progress, and it reminds you why you started. And here's a secret most people ignore. Allow yourself small rewards. Finished your 30-minute task? Make a cup of tea? Listen to your favorite song? Or take a short walk? These little rewards reinforce your habit and make it easier to stick to your plan. Finally, adjust, don't quit. Some days won't go as planned. That's okay. If something doesn't work, tweak it. Missed a task? shift it to another time. Don't give up. For example, if you plan to walk in the morning, but it rained, take an evening walk instead. Plans are like maps. Sometimes you take a detour, but the destination stays the same. The truth is simple. Success comes from doing small things every day, even when it's hard or boring. Stay consistent, track your progress, beat distractions, and adjust when needed. Do this, and your goal will stop being a dream and start becoming reality. So today, take your plan, follow your small steps, stick to your schedule, and keep going. Even small wins build momentum, and once momentum starts, it's unstoppable. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come a long way. By now, you've picked one clear goal, written 3 powerful reasons why it matters, broken it into small doable actions, scheduled and tracked those actions, and learned how to stay consistent even when life gets messy. That's already more than most people ever do. But now comes the most important part, turning all of this into real, visible results. Here's a truth that can't be ignored. Most people fail not because they aren't smart, not because they aren't capable, but because they never see the power of daily action combined with consistency. They think success is about big leaps, suddenly making $1 million, suddenly running a marathon, suddenly becoming fit. But real success doesn't work that way. Real success is built one small, intentional step at a time, repeated over days, weeks, and months. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't drop a seed in the soil and expect a full-grown tree the next day. You water it, you take care of it, you give it sunlight. Some days you might forget. Some days it rains too much, but with patience and care, that small seed grows into a tree that gives you shade, fruits, and beauty for years. Your goal works the same way. Every small action, every tick on your notebook, every 20 or 30 minutes you dedicate is like watering your seed. Let me give you some examples. Imagine someone wanting to learn a new language. They study 10 minutes a day, consistently. 1 week passes, they can form basic sentences. 1 month later, they can hold a conversation. It's not magic, it's small, consistent effort applied over time. Or someone saving money. They save $2 a day. At first it feels meaningless, but 6 months later, they have over $300. That money can pay a bill, buy a small gift, or even start a side project. The key is showing up daily, even when it feels small or silly. Here's another thing most people don't realize. Your mindset changes when you act. The person who started walking 10 minutes a day begins to feel healthier. The person saving $2 daily begins to feel in control of their finances. Your actions shape your confidence, your energy, and your focus, sometimes even faster than the results themselves. And here's the beautiful part. By following the steps we've talked about, goal, reasons, small actions, schedule, consistency, you create momentum. Momentum is powerful. It's like rolling a small snowball down a hill. At first, it's tiny, but every step, every rotation, it grows bigger and bigger until it becomes unstoppable. That's how success works. But let's be real. Life isn't perfect. Distractions will come. Some days you'll feel lazy. Some days things will go wrong. But that's okay. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not avoiding problems, but adjusting and continuing anyway. Missed a day of walking? Do it the next day. Couldn't work on a task? Shift it to another time. Progress, not perfection, is what counts. Now, here's the challenge and the opportunity for you. Look at your goal. Look at your 3 reasons and look at the small steps you can take today. Take the first one. Do it. It doesn't have to be big or perfect. Just do it. Then do the next and the next. Each small action compounds. Each day you follow your plan, you build strength, confidence, and results that most people will never have because they never started. Remember this: no plan, no progress, no success. But a simple plan, followed consistently, transforms your life. It gives you control when life feels chaotic. It gives you direction when everything seems confusing. And it gives you proof that your dreams are possible. So, what are you waiting for? You have the map. You have the vehicle. You have the tools. Start today. Take one small action. Schedule it. Track it. Repeat. The moment you begin, momentum starts. The moment you continue, results begin. And in time, your plan will turn into reality, bigger, stronger, and more powerful than you ever imagined. Success isn't about luck. It's about clarity, action, and persistence. You've learned the steps. Now it's up to you. Start small, stay consistent, adjust when necessary, and never give up. Your future is waiting, and it begins with the very first step you take right now. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what's funny? People say they want to be successful, but they spend more time charging their phone than charging their brain. Every day I meet people who say, "Sir, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity." My friend, opportunities don't come to people who wait. They come to people who prepare. And preparation means one thing: skills. Your job can be taken, your money can disappear, but your skills, they travel with you everywhere, even in your worst days. You look at successful people, they all have one thing in common. They built skills before success. Not luck, not contacts, skills. Look at Dwayne Johnson. He started with football, failed, went broke, and then used his skills, discipline, energy, and storytelling to become one of the biggest stars on earth. Or take YouTubers like Mr. Beast. He wasn't born rich. He just spent years learning how to grab attention, tell stories, and make people care. Those are skills that pay forever. So today, let's talk about the 5 skills that will make you unstoppable in life. And the first one, the foundation of everything, is communication. Now listen, communication is not about big words or a British accent. I've met people who speak English better than Siri, but they can't convince a fly to land on their idea, because communication isn't language, it's impact. It's the ability to make people feel what you're saying, to make them stop, think, and say, "You're right." Let me tell you something from experience. The world doesn't reward the best thinkers, it rewards the best communicators. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't explain your ideas clearly, the world will never know your genius. And communication isn't just for business, it's for life. How many fights could be avoided if people just said what they actually feel? One person says, "I'm fine," when they're not. The other says, "Okay," and walks away. Then both end up angry, posting sad quotes on Instagram. That's not love. That's poor communication. When you learn to speak with honesty, everything changes. You stop being misunderstood. You attract better people, and you start to lead without forcing anyone to follow you. The most powerful people in the world are not always the richest. They're the ones who can make others believe. Martin Luther King didn't have social media. He had a voice, and that voice moved a nation. So if you want to change your life, stop worrying about how many followers you have. Focus on the one skill that makes the world follow you: communication. Now, let's talk about the second skill: emotional control. My friends, this one decides whether you'll build an empire or destroy it with your own hands. Because no matter how smart you are, if you can't control your emotions will control your life. I've seen people ruin beautiful things in 10 seconds of anger. Friendships, careers, relationships, all gone because they couldn't control what came out of their mouth. It's like pressing send on a message you should have deleted, but in life there's no unsend button. You see, emotional control isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about learning when to react and when to relax. That's what separates leaders from complainers. You know what's funny? Everyone says, follow your heart. But if your heart is angry, lost, or hungry, it'll lead you straight into disaster. That's why you need your mind to drive and your heart to give direction. Let me give you an example. Will Smith, one of the biggest actors in the world, worked for 30 years to build his reputation. But in one emotional moment on stage, he slapped someone on the stage. Everything changed. 1 second of losing control can destroy decades of discipline. We all have moments like that. You come home tired. Someone says one wrong word, and boom, you explode like a volcano. Then 5 minutes later, you feel stupid, saying, "I didn't mean that." Of course you didn't. Your emotions did. Let me tell you this. When life gives you problems, it's not testing your strength, it's testing your stability. Anyone can be calm when things are going well, but true control is staying calm when everything is falling apart. I'll tell you what I've learned. The world belongs to people who stay calm when others panic, because panic makes you blind, but patience makes you powerful. Look at Warren Buffett, a man who became a billionaire, not by chasing trends, but by staying calm when everyone else was scared. That's emotional control in business form. And in real life, it's the same. When you stop reacting to every little problem, you start saving your energy for big victories. You stop fighting with people and start focusing on your purpose. You know, in today's world, people wear their emotions like a t-shirt. Angry? Post it. Sad? Post it. Jealous? Post it. They think sharing every emotion makes them real. No, it makes them drained. Sometimes, peace is not in talking. Peace is in not reacting. So the next time life slaps you, don't slap back, smile, breathe, and plan your next move. Because revenge may win the moment, but control wins the war. My friends, remember this. Your success depends not on how fast you move, but on how calm you stay when everything moves against you. Now, my friends, let's talk about the third skill that will make you unstoppable: decision making. This one separates people who wish from people who win. Because most people don't fail in life because of bad decisions. They fail because they never decide at all. You see, indecision is the most expensive habit in the world. It costs you time, energy, and opportunities. And time, once gone, never comes back. People say, I'm waiting for the right time. Let me tell you, there is no right time. The right time was yesterday. The second best time is right now. I've met so many people with great ideas who said, I'll start soon. You meet them a year later, they're still starting soon. Their soon has become a lifestyle. Life doesn't wait for people who keep thinking. Life rewards those who make a move and learn along the way. You know what's funny? When you make a decision, people around you will say, what if you fail? And when you don't make a decision, life itself whispers, what if you never try? That second voice, that's the one that hurts forever. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wanted to open a small cafe. He kept waiting for the economy to improve, waiting for the perfect location, waiting for the perfect partner. 10 years later, he passed by that same location and someone else had opened the cafe he dreamed of. Same idea, same location, different person. The only difference was decision. You see, successful people are not always the smartest. They're just brave enough to decide fast and fix fast. Jeff Bezos once said, if I can make a decision with 70% information, I'll make it. If I wait for 100%, I'm too late. That's the mindset you need. Because the longer you think, the louder your fear gets. And fear loves overthinkers. It feeds on delay. Let me ask you, how many times in life have you overthought something simple? Buying something, starting something, saying something. You thought for 3 weeks, and when you finally decided, you realized it wasn't even a big deal. That's how most people waste their lives, dying slowly from too much thinking. There's a quote I love. The greatest risk in life is not taking one. And it's true, because you can recover from a bad decision, but you can't recover from no decision. Now don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying be careless. I'm saying be courageous. Smart decisions need logic. Great decisions need guts. Every big breakthrough in history came from someone who said, let's try. The Wright brothers didn't wait for perfect weather to fly. They risked it. Now the world flies every day. When I started my first venture, I didn't know everything. I knew almost nothing. But I learned that making one brave decision teaches you more than reading 10 books about success. And remember, you can change a decision, but you can't change time. If you keep thinking instead of acting, opportunities will quietly move to someone else who had less fear and more faith. Here's the truth. You will make wrong decisions. Everyone does. But every wrong decision brings experience. And every experience brings wisdom. And that wisdom will one day make you unstoppable. So don't ask, what if it doesn't work? Ask, what if it does? And if it doesn't, you still win. Because now you know what not to do next time. That's how winners think. They don't chase perfection. They chase progress. So my friends, from today, stop living in maybe. Maybe kills dreams. Decide, act, learn, adjust, and move again. Because the road to success doesn't have traffic. It's empty. Because most people are still parked thinking. Now, my friends, the fourth skill every person must master is adaptability. Let me tell you, in today's world, if you don't adapt, you disappear. Simple as that. You can have degrees, experience, even talent. But if you refuse to change, life will change you anyway. Just not in the way you like. Look around. The world is moving faster than ever before. 10 years ago, if you could type fast, that was a skill. Today, AI can type faster than all of us, and it doesn't even need coffee breaks. See, the problem is, most people want a better life, but they don't want to change their habits. They want new results, but they keep using old methods. That's like trying to stream Netflix on a radio. You'll just sit there wondering, why is nothing working? I remember a friend who said, I don't like new technology. I said, then technology will not like you back. Because the world doesn't care whether you like change or not. It keeps moving. Either you move with it, or you stay behind with your excuses. Let me give you a real example. Do you remember Kodak, the company that made cameras and film? They actually invented the digital camera in 1975. But you know what they said? No one will ever stop using film. They refused to adapt. And guess what? Today, kids don't even know what a Kodak is. They think it's a filter on Instagram. That's what happens when you fall in love with your old ways. Adaptability is not about changing who you are, it's about updating your tools so your dreams can survive the future. You know, people often ask, how do I stay successful for a long time? And I tell them, don't marry your success, marry your growth. Because what made you win yesterday can make you lose tomorrow if you stop learning. There was a time when I used to resist change too. Every time a new platform came, I'd say, this is just a trend. Until one day, that trend became the new world. Change feels uncomfortable because it demands that we let go of who we were. But the truth is, who you were got you here. Who you become will take you further. Even nature teaches us this. The strongest trees bend during the storm. The ones that refuse to bend break, so adaptability is not weakness, it's wisdom. Think about your smartphone. You update your apps all the time. But when was the last time you updated yourself? New mindset, new skills, new ways of thinking, that's your real system update. You can't compete in 2025 with a 2015 mindset. It's like showing up to a Formula One race with a donkey. You'll have passion, sure, but the world will pass you in seconds. Let me give you another example. There was a man who sold CDs in the early 2000s. He made good money. But when music went digital, he said, nah, people will always want CDs. 10 years later, he was out of business. The funny thing, if he had simply learned how to upload songs on Spotify, he could have been earning while sleeping. That's the power of adaptability. It turns endings into new beginnings. So my friends, stop saying, I don't know how. Start saying, I'll learn how. Because in this era, learning fast is a superpower. And don't be afraid of being a beginner again. Every master was once a beginner who refused to stay the same. You see, adaptable people don't get scared when things change. They get curious. They ask, what can I learn from this? Because they know, even if the world changes 100 times, they can still survive. Not because they're the smartest, but because they're the most flexible. So remember this line. In a world that changes every day, the only people who survive are those who can reinvent themselves every day. Don't resist change. Ride it. Because change is not the enemy. It's the invitation to the next version of your life. Now, my friends, let's talk about something schools never teach you, but life will make you pay for not knowing. Financial intelligence. You see, most people work for money their whole life, but the smart ones make money work for them. And that's the difference between being busy all your life and being free one day. It's funny, right? We spend years learning how to find X in math, but no one teaches us how to find extra income in life. The truth is, financial intelligence is not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and how wisely you use it. I know people earning thousands who are still broke, and people earning little who are slowly becoming rich. Because one group buys things to look rich, and the other buys things to get rich. Let me give you an example. There was a young man who got his first salary and said, I finally made it. The next day, he bought a new phone, new shoes, and took his friends to dinner. 2 weeks later, bro, can you lend me some money? And that's how most people live, not paycheck to paycheck, but ego to ego. Financial intelligence is about controlling your money, not letting your money control you. You have to understand something. Money doesn't solve problems. It amplifies them. If you're bad with small money, you'll be worse with big money. Because money is like a mirror. It reflects your habits, not your wishes. When I was younger, I thought being rich meant buying everything I wanted. Now I realize being rich means not needing to buy everything I see. True wealth is freedom, not flexing. Let's make this simple. Financially smart people do 3 things differently. First, they don't just earn, they learn. They study how money moves. They read about business, investing, markets, even small things like how to save, how to budget. Because if you don't know where your money goes, it will always go away. Second, they separate needs from wants. You don't need a new phone every year. You need a financial plan that lets you sleep at night. Rich people buy assets, things that make them money. Poor people buy liabilities, things that take money. You know the difference between a car and an investment? One takes you places. The other takes your money to other places. Third, they think long term. Most people think in days and months. Successful people think in years and decades. They understand. Patience grows money faster than excitement does. Let me tell you a funny thing. Everyone wants to be rich fast. But if fast money was easy, everyone would already have it. That's why you see people chasing crypto today, real estate tomorrow, and next big thing next week. But their bank balance still looks like a flat line. Because wealth isn't built from chasing trends, it's built from consistency, discipline, and control. Even small habits matter. Saving 10% of your income may not sound like much, but do it for 10 years. You'll thank your younger self one day. And please remember this. The goal is not to have lots of money. The goal is to have enough money to live life your way. You don't need millions to be happy. You need financial peace. The feeling that even if you don't work tomorrow, your life won't collapse. And one more truth, don't measure wealth by what people show you. Measure it by what they can survive without showing. Because the loudest luxury often hides the deepest debt. Financial intelligence is not built in banks, it's built in mindsets. The mindset of delayed gratification, the mindset of learning before spending, and the mindset of owning your future, not renting it. So my friends, from today, don't just chase income, chase intelligence. Don't just save money, make it work for you. And don't just look rich, be free. Because the day you stop working for money and money starts working for you, that's the day you've truly made it. Now, my friends, we've talked about communication, emotional intelligence, decision-making, adaptability, and financial intelligence. But all of these skills mean nothing if you don't have the final one, execution. Because ideas are cheap, action is expensive. That's why so few people can afford it. Everyone says, I have a dream. But dreams without action are just comfortable lies you tell yourself at night. The difference between people who want success and people who create it is execution. I once met a young man who said, Sir, I've been planning my business for 3 years. I asked, so when will you start? He said, soon. 3 years later, I met him again. Guess what? He was still planning, now with better excuses. That's what most people do. They polish their plans until life rusts them. You see, the world doesn't pay you for what you intend to do. It pays you for what you actually do. Execution means starting before you're ready. It means taking the first step when your legs are shaking and learning to run while you're already on the road. Look at any great success story. It's not built on perfect conditions. It's built on messy beginnings and stubborn consistency. When Steve Jobs started Apple, he didn't have a fancy office. He had a garage. When Alibaba started, we didn't have investors. We had belief. When J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter, she didn't have support. She had rejection letters. But she kept executing. That's what turns ordinary people into extraordinary stories. Most people lose because they keep waiting for motivation. Motivation is like your phone battery, full in the morning, dead by afternoon. What you need is discipline. That's the charger that keeps you going. Execution is not about doing big things once. It's about doing small things every single day. Because success doesn't come from one big leap. It comes from thousands of small steps you refuse to skip. You want to write a book? Start with 1 page. You want to get fit? Start with 1 push-up. You want to change your life? Start with 1 decision. Today. And please stop saying someday. Someday is the most dangerous day on the calendar because it never comes. Let me tell you something real. When you start taking action, people will laugh. They'll doubt you. They'll tell you you're wasting your time. But remember, people always laugh before they clap. You just keep working until they change their tone. Execution also means finishing what you start. Because most people are not lazy, they're just addicted to starting. They start new things every week, but finish nothing. That's why their life looks like a loading screen that never completes. Consistency beats intelligence every single time. If you do something every day, even badly, you'll be unstoppable in 1 year. So my friends, don't wait for perfect timing, create it. Don't wait for confidence, build it by doing. And don't wait for luck, make it irrelevant through effort. The secret is simple. While most people are talking, you'll be doing. While they're doubting, you'll be proving. And while they're sleeping, you'll be building. Because execution doesn't guarantee success, But without execution, success is impossible. So when this video ends, don't just say nice speech. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now? Then do it. That one small action will change everything. Because in the end, success doesn't come to the smartest or the richest or the most talented. It comes to the one who simply executes. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, before we talk about success, let me expose the biggest lie you were taught. Work hard and you will make money. No. If that were true, construction workers would be billionaires and single mothers would own half the world. Money doesn't go to the hardest workers. Money goes to the people who know how to work with people. Think about your own life. You've seen someone less talented than you make more money than you. You've seen someone less educated get better opportunities. You've seen someone less hardworking rise faster. And you sit there thinking, how? How? Did they pray harder? Did they drink some secret millionaire juice? No. They understood humans. Every time I watch people fail, it's rarely because they were stupid. It's because they didn't know how to talk, how to listen, how to understand, how to connect. I've seen brilliant founders who can build an app in 2 days, but cannot say hello without sounding like they're asking for a loan. I've seen employees with perfect CVs but zero soul in their communication, like walking PDFs. You fix your social skills and money will stop running away from you. So today, I want to give you 5 social skills. Let me give you the first social skill you must master if you want your life, your career, your business, your bank balance, all of it to level up. The first social skill is the art of making people feel seen. Listen, this isn't about compliments. This isn't about being fake nice. This is about understanding the deepest human desire. Everyone wants to matter. In every office, in every school, in every family, in every business, watch who rises. Not the loudest, not the smartest, not the one with the fanciest degree. The one who makes others feel important. Let me give you a real example. There's a famous video of Robert Downey Jr. at a red carpet event. Everyone is screaming his name, flashing cameras, rushing him. But what does he do? He pauses, turns around, and talks to one security guard, looks him in the eye, jokes with him, treats him like a human being, not background furniture. That clip went viral. People loved him more, not because of his movie, but because of his humanity. Another example, when Lionel Messi won his 8th golden ball, the whole world was shouting, cameras everywhere, fans everywhere, and he spotted a little kid holding a jersey, trembling, too nervous to ask. Messi walked straight to him, smiled, took the jersey, signed it, put his hand on the kid's shoulder. That one moment created millions of fans more loyal than any marketing strategy ever could. Why? Because when you make someone feel seen, they never forget you, and they will talk about you, support you, help you, amplify you, even when you are not in the room. But here's the sad part. Most people today don't even give eye contact. Most people listen like they are loading, buffering, stuck at 2%. Most people treat conversations like notifications. Let me reply fast and escape. You cannot build impact like that. You cannot build trust like that. You cannot build wealth like that. So here is what you do. The next time someone talks to you, give them real attention, not the fake, yeah, sure, while checking your phone. Look at them. Listen to them. Ask questions. Remember small details. Their kid's name, their struggle, their dream, their project. Respect their time. Value their presence. Because when people feel seen, they feel safe with you. When they feel safe with you, they open up to you. When they open up to you, you earn relationships. And relationships are the bank accounts that pay forever. You master this one social skill, and you will be shocked at how quickly people notice you, support you, and push opportunities your way. Now that you understand the power of making people feel seen, let's go deeper. Because the second social skill is the one that decides whether people trust you or quietly block you from their future. This skill is simple to say, painful to learn, and the reason why many talented people stay broke, stuck, and unnoticed for years. The second social skill is this: learn to communicate clearly without confusion, chaos, or emotional explosions. You see, most people don't have a communication problem. They have a miscommunication problem. They think they said one thing, the other person heard something else, and both walk away convinced the other person is an idiot. Have you ever texted someone and they replied, okay, just okay, and suddenly your brain wrote a whole Netflix series? Are they angry? Did I say something wrong? Why did they not put a smiley? Where is the heart? Where is the love? Meanwhile, the other person was just busy eating chips. This is what bad communication does. It creates drama you didn't sign up for. If you want money, success, and opportunities, people must understand you quickly and easily. If your message is confusing, your results will also be confusing. Let me give you a global example. When Jeff Bezos was building Amazon in the early days, people asked him, "What is your company?" He didn't give a 5-minute TED talk. He didn't use fancy words. He said one simple line: "We make it easy for people to find and buy things online." Clear, direct, understandable by a 10-year-old. That clarity attracted investors, talent, partners, everyone. Another example, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Why do companies pay him millions to promote products? Because he communicates like a human, not robotic, not corporate, not confusing. He speaks simply, directly, with energy you cannot ignore. That's why people buy everything he touches. He's clear. Now look at the opposite. You know those people who explain something and by the time they finish you forgot why you were alive? They start at point A, jump to point Z, take a detour through Mars, and somehow end the conversation talking about their neighbor's cat. Here's what you do. Slow down. Think before you speak. Say things in a way a child could understand. Remove the unnecessary. Don't add extra drama. Don't use 40 words when 10 will do. Don't talk in circles. And when someone else is speaking, actually listen. Not the fake listening you do while planning what you'll say next. Real listening. The kind where you're trying to understand their point, not destroy it. Because here is the money truth. People who communicate clearly become leaders. People who communicate with confusion become followers. People who communicate with ego become enemies. And people who communicate with simplicity become unstoppable. Do you know why? Because clarity attracts. Clarity builds trust. Clarity makes people say, I want to work with this person. You want your team to follow you? Be clear. You want your partner to respect you? Be clear. You want clients to pay you? Be clear. When you master clear communication, doors open. People support you, meetings become shorter, arguments become smaller, money comes faster, and life gets easier. Because people finally understand what you want and what you bring. And trust me, being understood is one of the biggest competitive advantages in today's world. If skill no 1 makes people like you, skill no 2 makes people trust you. And when people like you and trust you, you become impossible to ignore. Now that you've learned how to make people feel seen and how to communicate with clarity, let's move to the third social skill, the one that decides whether people choose you or avoid you, whether opportunities open or disappear the moment you walk in. This one is deeper, more emotional, and honestly, the reason most people stay stuck for years. The third social skill is this: managing your emotions, especially in difficult moments. Let me tell you a secret about life. People don't judge you when things are easy. People judge you when things go wrong. Everybody looks smart when they're winning, but your real character, your real value, your real social intelligence shows up when the pressure hits. You want to know why some people don't get promoted? Not because they're not talented, but because the boss knows if I put this person in charge, they will explode the first time someone disagrees. You want to know why some relationships fail? Not because people stop loving each other, but because they don't know how to stay calm when life gets loud. You want to know why some people never grow? Because every small problem triggers a big emotional earthquake. People remember your emotional reactions more than your abilities. Let me give you an example. There was a moment when Tom Holland was being interviewed and someone tried to provoke him with a rude, dismissive question. He could have snapped. He could have clapped back. He could have gone viral for the wrong reason. But instead, he stayed calm, smiled, and answered with grace. The clip spread everywhere, not because of the question, but because of his composure. Another example, Serena Williams. In one of her most stressful matches, the crowd was loud, judges were tense, pressure was insane, and she still managed to smile at a little kid shouting encouragement from the stands. One moment of emotional control, millions inspired. That's power. Because here's the truth. People trust calm energy. People follow calm energy. People believe calm energy, but most people today, they live on emotional Wi-Fi. One small thing goes wrong, signal lost. A tiny inconvenience, system reboot. Someone disagrees, full meltdown. If you want to succeed, you need to become emotionally expensive, not emotionally cheap. Emotionally cheap people get triggered by everything. Emotionally expensive people know when to speak, when to stay quiet, when to walk away, when to breathe. And this skill pays you, literally pays you. The person who can stay calm in chaos becomes the leader in the room. The person who can think clearly in stress becomes the problem solver everyone respects. The person who can control their reactions becomes the one others rely on. Here's what emotional mastery looks like in real life. Someone talks badly about you, you don't fight. You don't scream. You don't post a long paragraph online. You smile and let your success argue for you later. Someone sends a rude message. You don't throw your dignity away for a moment of rage. You answer like a professional, or you don't answer at all. And listen carefully. Money flows toward the person who can stay calm under pressure. Investors look for that. Employers look for that. Clients look for that. Leaders require that. Partners respect that. Friends trust that. Your emotional stability is your social credibility. So from now on, when life tests you, don't respond instantly. When someone annoys you, don't explode. When things get stressful, don't panic. Pause, breathe, think, respond, don't react. Master this skill, and suddenly people will respect you more, trust you more, and open more doors for you, just because your energy feels stronger than their chaos. We've talked about making people feel seen, communicating with clarity, and staying emotionally stable under pressure. Now let's move to the fourth social skill, the one that separates people who grow fast from people who repeat the same year 10 times. This next skill is rare, but it is one of the strongest money-attracting skills on earth. The fourth social skill is this: learning how to handle difficult conversations without running away or burning bridges. Let me tell you something brutally honest. Most people are not scared of hard work. They are scared of hard conversations. They avoid them. They delay them. They pray they magically disappear. Someone owes them money. They don't ask. Someone hurts them. They don't speak. Someone underperforms. They don't correct. Someone is disrespecting boundaries. They stay silent and hope maybe they will change. No. People don't change because of silence. People change because of communication. And if you can't handle difficult conversations, you cannot lead, cannot grow, cannot level up. Let me give you a real example. There's a famous interview where Kevin Hart talked about how early in his career, he had to have a tough conversation with a close friend who was dragging him down. Instead of exploding or abandoning him silently, he sat him down, looked him in the eye, and said, "If you want to be in my circle, you have to grow with me. I can't carry you forever." It was uncomfortable, but it was honest. That conversation changed both their lives. Another example, remember when Taylor Swift had that huge dispute with her old label over her master recordings? Instead of hiding, instead of crying online, instead of staying silent, she addressed it openly, clearly, professionally. She didn't insult anyone. She didn't create drama. She simply stood her ground with clarity. Today, she owns her music, built a global movement, and became a billionaire because she handled a difficult conversation with strategy, not emotion. That's the kind of skill winners have. But most people, they do the opposite. They avoid uncomfortable conversations until the problem becomes a monster. Let me tell you something. Silence doesn't fix problems. Silence grows problems. If your employee is underperforming, say it. If your friend is crossing the line, say it. If your partner is hurting you, say it. If you owe someone clarity, give it. If someone owes you clarity, ask for it. Here's what most people don't understand. Difficult conversations don't break relationships. Avoiding them does. Let me give you a simple formula. How to handle any tough conversation like a mature, powerful human. Number 1, state the issue directly. Not emotionally, not aggressively, just clearly. "Hey, I noticed this, and I want to talk about it." Number 2, talk about the impact, not the blame. This is affecting the work, the relationship, the project. Number 3, ask for improvement, not perfection. Can we fix this? Can we adjust? Can we try a different approach? Number 4, set boundaries calmly, not dramatically. "I won't be able to continue like this if it stays the same." This is how adults talk. This is how leaders talk. This is how people with power talk. Master this skill, And you will stop losing people you care about. Stop losing opportunities you deserve. And stop walking around with silent stress in your chest. Because strong relationships, personal or professional, are not built on silence. They are built on communication. We've reached the final social skill, and honestly, this one decides your entire future. If the first 4 skills help you communicate, influence, and build respect, this last skill decides whether people will push you forward or quietly remove you from their life. The 5th social skill is this: knowing how to build long-term relationships even when there's no immediate benefit. Let me say something that hurts a bit. Most people don't build relationships. They build transactions. They only call when they need something. They only check in when they're desperate. They only show up when it benefits them. That's why they stay stuck, because people can smell selfish energy from a mile away. Successful people do the opposite. They think long-term. They invest into people before they need them. They show support when no one else is watching. They plant seeds today for things that might grow 5 years later. Let me give you a real-life example. One of the biggest tech founders today said that early in his journey, he would email people just to appreciate their work, not to ask for money, not to pitch an idea, not to beg for help. Guess what happened? Years later, those same people became investors, advisors, partners. Why? Because he built real relationships, not emergency contacts. Another example, you know how Dwayne Johnson has such a strong brand? Of course he works hard. But that's not the main reason. Almost every director, co-actor, or producer who works with him says the same thing. He stays in touch, he checks up, he remembers people. He treats everyone with respect. That's why people love working with him. That's why opportunities follow him. But most people do the opposite. They see someone doing well, and they distance themselves. They get jealous, they get insecure, they think supporting someone else means losing something. No, support is free, jealousy is expensive. If you want real success, listen carefully. Your network is not built on how many people you know. It's built on how many people trust you. Trust comes from consistency, from showing up, from remembering small details about people, from celebrating others even when your own life isn't perfect, from being someone who adds energy, not someone who drains it. Let me give you something practical. If you want to build long-term relationships, send one thoughtful message a day. Not hey, not bro, not need help. Say something meaningful. I saw this and it reminded me of your project. Keep going. That advice you gave me last month helped more than you know. Wishing you a strong week. Rooting for you. These small touches compound. They turn strangers into friends, friends into collaborators, collaborators into opportunities. And here's the final truth. In life, talent opens the first door. Communication opens the second. But relationships open the final room. The room where real success lives. So, don't just be impressive. Be memorable. Be helpful. Be someone people want in their life for a very, very long time. That is the 5th social skill. And if you master it, you won't have to chase opportunities. They will chase you. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.